This is Snehal. I recently went for a blood donation, and I learned that we are in a situation where with a shortage of the blood supply, and we have less donor and the more demand, and that makes me think that we all should donate blood. And just to support this, we also organizing a blood drive initiative. Uh, and we have a lot of questions from our community member donors. So this video is more an educational series.
Okay.
We have Leslie Smith from Red Cross. They work day and night to collect the blood, that can save the life. And then I have Ashish Jain, who is the president from Jan Vishwa Bharati Executive Committee. And we will try to have some questions and bring it more an educational uh, context through this video. So Ashish ji, I know you have received so many questions from participation. Do you want to have a discussion or initiate
Sure,
the discussion with some of your questions?
sure, definitely. First of all, I want to say thank you, Snehal, for taking such a noble initiative for this. And I'd like to say thank you to Ms. Nestle Smith to join us and to answer a few of our questions. So my first question, I will jump on questions right now. Uh, my, like Leslie would like to explain why blood donation is important at this time right now.
Okay. Well, blood donation is important at all times. The need for blood did not go away with the COVID pandemic. In fact, in some cases it went up. The only time it kind of went down a little bit was last March and April and May, when elective surgeries were all canceled. But when the elective surgeries started back up last June, the demand for blood increased. The main reason somebody would need a blood transfusion typically is they're fighting cancer. When you get chemotherapy and radiation, you actually kill the good cells as well as the bad ones. So it's very common for a cancer patient to use red cells and platelets and plasma sometimes. Organ transplant surgeries, they can end up using several units of blood or many. I recently had a call from a young mother who gave birth last year and started bleeding out during the delivery, and she used 35 units of blood. Now, if the blood had not been there in the hospital, in the emergency room at the blood bank ready for her, she would have died. So things like that happen. We need to have an ample blood supply on hand for emergencies, for everyday use, and we rarely do. We typically are very careful. We store it in the warehouse in Philadelphia in a blood bank. All the hospitals will store blood, but they'll only store a minimum amount. They don't store a lot because blood is perishable. So sometimes they'll call us in the middle of the night and say, we need 20 units of O positive blood right now. We have a patient that's going through surgery and bleeding out, so we need you to come by now, and we'll bring that blood by ambulance to them. So that can happen too, but no patient should suffer because there's not enough blood for their procedure. There are times where it gets so low, especially in the summer or right after snowstorms, where we'll advise the hospitals, look, we're very low on blood, very, very low on O negative. You might want to hold off on any surgeries that can wait. Because if you operate on this person and they have a bleeding out situation, we can't help you. We don't have the blood in stock. And we shouldn't have to do that. This country is big enough. We have more than enough willing donors. It's just the majority of the population does not donate. If you think about it, less than 5% of everybody who's eligible will donate. And that's really a crime, that people are not thinking more about their civic duty, about helping others than they do. But you'll see commercials on TV occasionally. When you see a commercial on TV advertising the need for blood, it's because we're very short. We're hurting, and that's
So
when
it's fair to say, Leslie, various kind of donation helps community in a different way, but blood donation has direct relation with saving someone's life. And
Absolutely.
I was reading that 1 unit can even save up to 3 lives.
Do you want to explain how that is? Do you understand how that how the blood is made into 3 products?
Yeah. So I was kind of just reading through, and there is the blood could be the platelets, there could be a power red and just your regular blood. and in a various different situation that would be basically useful?
Actually, there's three products. When we harvest your blood, the first thing we're going to do is take it back to the laboratory and obviously test the test tubes that we draw. We're going to take the blood and put it in a centrifuge. We're going to spin it down and harvest the red cells in a bag of its own. We're going to harvest the little platelets, which are microscopic, and then we're going to pull out the plasma, which was the liquid part of your blood. So the plasma can be frozen for a year. The red cells will live for 42 days in our refrigerator, but the platelets only live for 5 days. So at the blood drive, 7 of you who donate blood will be needed to get 1 unit of platelets for a leukemia patient or cancer survivor. So the platelets are kept at a certain temperature. They're gently rocked. They're a living tissue. By the time we get the platelets to the hospital, they transfuse them within 2 days. So we have to get platelets. That's the main reason why the Red Cross must run every day of the year. We have 5 major holidays where we don't collect blood. Other than that, we are out collecting every day of the year because these platelets die so quickly and we have to collect every day. Sure, we could collect twice as much if we were able to on a Monday, but that doesn't help us with the platelets.
Sure.
So yes, your blood donation will give us 3 different products. Absolutely. We'll talk about the Power Reds, when you're ready.
Sure, thank you, and that's very useful information. I believe everyone should step up. But though one question I have is, though I know it saves a life, but probably what prevents me to donate the blood or people to donate the blood is, does it impact my body? Does it cause any damage or any sort of a negative impact on my body? Because everyone needs to be careful for their own health as well.
Absolutely. And that's the reason why we do a mini physical on you at the blood drive. The first thing we're going to do is take your blood pressure. If your blood pressure is too high or too low, we will dismiss you. So we're not going to let doing blood hurt you. We are going to take your temperature, of course. If your temperature, we're going to do it at the door just because of COVID, but we will then take an oral temperature. If any reason you're elevated, you might be coming down with something, we will turn you away. The next thing we're going to do is prick 1 finger and take a tiny drop of blood and put it in a machine called a hemocube. And we're going to measure your number of red cells in that drop of blood. Women have to be 12.5 hematocrit, and I think men are 13.2. If you fall below that, it doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you. It might particularly be you didn't eat that day, you've been fasting. For women, it could be the time of the month. But typically, it's not uncommon for a new donor, especially not to pass the hematocrit, because we don't want to take your blood and then make you anemic. If we do find that you're very low, let's say your hematocrit is well under 10, you might want to consult with a doctor and just say, hey, I went to donate blood, my hematocrit was 9. What should I do about that? They might want to start you on iron supplements or certain medications. So, and sometimes it's a sign of an illness you didn't even know you had. So in some ways it is a free mini physical, it's a checkup, but we're not going to take your blood and cause you any harm. It's a very simple process. It's painless, it's easy, and it's actually a good thing for people to do occasionally. It gets the excess iron out of your blood and causes your bone marrow to regenerate more red cells. So it's a very healthy thing to do.
So if I understand it right, first you are saying you take all the measurement needed to ensure you're eligible to donate, first of all.
Right.
Second, if you donate, it doesn't damage anything to your body. In fact, it could be more helpful for the body occasionally doing the donation.
That's correct. That's
awesome.
Correct.
Wonderful.
Thank you for explaining that. Ms. Leslie, one of the most common questions, almost everyone has it, for a potential donor, is it safe to donate during this COVID pandemic, or what precautions Red Cross takes it to make sure it's done safely?
That's an excellent question. We have been getting that a lot over the past 12 months. When this happened to us last March, I can tell you it was devastating. I've been with the Red Cross 20 years. And I've never seen anything like this. Every single blood drive I had scheduled, March, April, May, June, was canceled. all the schools canceled, the businesses all sent everybody home. The government offices all closed. It was devastating to us. We had no idea where we would get blood drives, where we would get the blood donors, and if anybody would come out. The governor of New Jersey put out some strict guidelines, what you could and couldn't do during COVID. And fortunately, one thing he did to help us is he did put out a notice to everyone that it was considered essential to donate. So just like maybe going to your local drugstore to pick up your medicine was considered essential, donating blood was considered an essential activity, and we did not fall under any of the guidelines. But yet we want to make things as safe as possible. So one of the first screens that all hospitals and doctors' offices and places use is a temperature check. So the first thing we started doing in March was scanning your forehead when you first come into the, to the room. In fact, we don't even let you come into the room until we've checked your forehead with a temporal scanner. By the time of your drive, they may actually be doing this robotically, where it's on a stand that it just reads you as you come in. But we are going to check your temperature before we let you come in. Everyone must be wearing masks. You'll go back to, and the whole purpose of scheduling donors, why we don't really encourage walk-ins, is we don't want people waiting and congregating. So the hope is we have 2 to 3 appointments every 15 minutes. The donors come in, we check them in at registration. We send them right back to the medical history, where they sit down with a staff member in private. We're all wearing masks. The only time they're going to lift their mask is just long enough for us to do an oral temperature check again. And then we do the mini history. When they go back to the bed, everyone's wearing masks. When they get to the canteen, they will now spread them out. It used to be we could put 6 people at a table. Now we're putting 1 or 2 spread 8 feet apart at a table. So when they have their bottle of water, they're not close to another person because they're going to remove their mask to drink their water. We want everyone to drink the water before they leave. We will have packaged snacks and cookies and things. If they want them, that's fine. If they don't, it doesn't matter. But they should get rehydrated, because you're losing some liquid when you donate blood, and we want them rehydrated again. So we wipe down everything with sanitary wipes. The beds are all wiped in between each donor. The computers, anything that they touch is sanitized. So we feel like it's a safe process. And frankly, I have just been shocked and amazed at the willingness of people to help us. Starting back in the spring, a lot of local places stepped in and helped us. The YMCAs that were totally closed opened up their gyms for us. The Masonic lodges that were closed, Latter-day Saints, some churches were willing. Places that were all closed up would give us the keys to the door and say, have a blood drive. And we thought, well, who's going to recruit the donors? Where are we going to get the people from? The only thing we could do really was advertise on our website, and people came. Every drive we had the past year has done really well. Donors are looking for places to donate. They're signing themselves up. We have just been amazed and thrilled that the donors are willing to come out. They do feel it's safe. The ones that donate come back again in 8 weeks. So obviously they feel comfortable doing this. And this is not since the vaccine. This is the past 2020. All of our drives were amazing. How that will continue this summer going into next year, we have no clue. But so far, people understand that, hey, this is a time for us to pull together and help one another. And so we really haven't struggled too much to get donors. So they must feel pretty safe. I feel safe donating. I think we're doing the right thing.
Definitely. I mean, whatever points you made, it's very relevant, and thanks for explaining that. I'm waiting.
Okay.
So thank you.
That's great, Leslie, and good to know that you guys are taking all the precautions and best standard for the safety. However, the other question I have is, if people have recently gone through vaccination, like if it's 2021, people are taking COVID vaccination. Mm-hmm. So can they also donate? Is there any issue for them?
No, they can certainly donate.
They can donate. There's no consent, no requirement.
As long as they don't have a temperature. I mean, there have been a few people that have had a little fever after they've donated the next day, and obviously they come to the drive and they have a fever, we can't take them. The very first question we're going to ask you when you come is, how do you feel today? And if you answer, I feel fine, we'll continue. If you answer, I don't feel so good, then whatever reason, we'll dismiss you. Because we don't want to take someone who doesn't feel good.
Understand. Okay, great. And I know you have a process already in place. After taking the blood, you do all the blood analysis. So you ensure that you're getting the safe blood. So
Yes,
that's
of
good to
course.
know. Sure.
Thank you for clarifying that. One more, most common questions come, and especially in Indians or any immigrants, they want to donate.
Yeah.
What are the travel restrictions? Like who has recently traveled? Let's say if you take example of India, what the Red Cross put restrictions, like who can donate or not donate?
That's a great question, because it may not affect your drive in April, but it may affect your drives going forward. Last June, the FDA finally approved lowering the restrictions for travel to malaria risk countries. Prior to that, if you had been in a country such as anywhere in India, you could not donate blood for 12 months. They changed that to 3 months, which is a huge help. So, let's say people come and donate in April, and then you do another drive in August, and someone goes to India in July, they will not be eligible until 3 months later. The risk is malaria exposure. Even if you take pills, malaria pills, you never leave the city, you stay in an office complex, it doesn't matter. The government's real strict because we can't see malaria in your blood until you show you're sick. So it's a 3-month deferral for any country with malaria.
So quick follow-up question on that. Like, how about traveling to other states in USA? Because New Jersey might have some restrictions due to COVID. If they haven't done the quarantine, obviously they should not be donating.
No, it doesn't matter. You can, as far as they're saying, you cannot catch COVID in the blood. It is not something that you can give someone COVID because of a blood transfusion. So we're not worried about you making a hospital patient sicker. So there are no restrictions in regards to exposure to COVID, as long as you feel well when you show up. But obviously, if you have not been vaccinated and you're exposed on Monday, I don't think it's a smart thing to do to come out and donate, because you could contaminate the person you're talking to.
Yes.
So it's probably not. Interesting, the Red Cross has determined that if those of us who have been vaccinated had our second shot, it's been over 2 weeks, they feel we are safe. And if we get exposed, they're not worried about us. So we do feel like the vaccinated people are perfectly safe to be around. And all my staff have been vaccinated. We were considered 1A, and we were all, they started vaccinating us back in January. So all the Red Cross staff has been treated.
Okay, that's actually very good information. So all your staff is already vaccinated, and
yes,
as far as people did not travel and to countries like India in last 90 days, and they're feeling good on the day of donation, they're good to go.
Right. So you do another drive. People may, when they're allowed to go to India, they may start traveling this summer. So, if you're going to run several times a year, if they're not eligible for the next drive, then maybe they would be eligible for the one after that.
Got you. Understood. Thank you. Now, one question though, I mean, some of the community member might have, diabetes or thyroid, those kind of situations. So are they eligible for blood donation?
Yes, diabetes, usually as long as you feel well. You just have to, again, that's the first question. How do you feel today? And, if a diabetic is taking care of themselves and feeling well, we'll let them donate. Other conditions, thalassemia, I think is a no, but, any kind of blood disorder would not be good.
All right. So Leslie, next question is, I see the options, right, as a regular blood, as well as something they call Power Red.
Yes.
Can you explain a little more what kind of donation it is, and is it also okay, like anyone can donate?
No, not anyone can donate. The requirements are a little more stringent for donating Power Red. What Power Red is, the donor comes in and we first verify their blood type. We're looking for donors who are O positive, O negative, A or B negative. Those are the types of blood that we need the most of, because Power Red means you're giving double the amount of red cells than you normally would have. They will hook you up to a machine, not just a needle in a bag, machine. The machine is going to pull your blood out. It's going to run it through a centrifuge, and it's actually going to spin out the plasma and the platelets and just harvest red cells. So instead of a small unit of red cells, you're going to get double the amount. Then we're going to return the platelets and plasma along with some saline back in your same needle, same arm. The advantage to the donors doing it is you've really given twice in the same time. So a regular donor can give every 8 weeks. If you do Power Red, you can't give again for 16 weeks. So if you do Power Red twice a year, it's like you went 4 times to blood drives. So it's a real simple process. The people who do it tend to like it because you come out more hydrated. So when you donate blood, you're losing almost a pint of liquid, which is why we want you to drink that bottle of water. When you do this machine, you really are not coming out dehydrated. You're coming out hydrated because we're putting more liquids back in you. It doesn't hurt. It's just you're going to be on a needle about 15 minutes longer than you normally would.
Okay.
In terms of who can and can't, women have to be fairly large. They must be at least 5'5". They must weigh 150 pounds, and their hematocrit levels must be much higher. So very few women really meet those qualifications. There could be some, and if a woman says, oh, I want to do the machine, and she meets the qualifications, surely we'll take her. But it's usually men that sign up for the machines because they meet the minimum height and weight requirements. They do have to meet the hematocrit level, and we're going to have to prick your finger to determine. And if you're not at the level you need to be to do the Power Red, we can't take you. If you show up and you're A positive, which is what I am, we would not want to tie the machine up with you. It's not that we don't need your blood, but we really want those O people, because your O positive negative people can give, O negative can give to everybody, O positive can give to 42% of the population. The advantage of the hospital is when we give them their bag of blood, it's got double the strength in it. So almost everyone who gets a blood transfusion will need more than one. So if the doctor says this person needs 2 units of O negative, you hang 1 bag of blood from a Power Red donor, both units are in that same bag. So the patient is only exposed to 1 person instead of 2. So safer for the patient, better for the hospitals. They hang 1 bag and walk away versus twice. So it's really helpful. The hospitals need it. We need the double bags. So if you know people who meet the qualifications and are willing to spend a few more minutes at the drive, we would love to have them sign up.
So that's good. I mean, good to know. And it's looks like a pretty advanced technology that takes your blood out and then give you back right away, extracting what is required. So pretty interesting to know. And what are the blood types who can give Power Red?
Again, we're looking for O negative, O positive, or A or B negative.
Okay, understood.
Those are the kinds that they need the most of.
Yeah. Sure, thank you. Now, the other question I have is, I know you said it will be kind of everyone gets their pre kind of a medical exam, right, as a part of this drive. Now, as a donor, do we have access to our own reports, like whatever test you did, or maybe a blood report or some sort of those stuff?
Actually, you do have some ability. We're hoping people, when they sign up to give blood, will create a donor profile. Ideally, we want them to go and get the Red Cross Blood app. There's a lot of Red Cross apps available out there, one for pet safety, one for first aid safety, one for hurricanes and things like that. But there is one for blood. It's a cute little Red Cross with a blood drop in the middle of it. If you sign up for the blood app, you can do a lot of things with it. One, you can make your own appointment to donate blood at your blood drive or any blood drive you want to find in the community. You can make your, you can do your questionnaire right on the app. So you can do those 40-some questions we're going to ask you at the blood drive in advance. It will keep a record of when you donated. It'll keep a record of your next due appointment time. Okay, so you gave April 4th, you're due again June 2nd. It'll keep a record of that. It will also do a couple things. It will record your blood pressure. So, okay, you donated on April 4th and your blood pressure was 120/70. You donated on June 2nd, your blood pressure was 160 over what might be too high, but it'll keep a record. It's going to record your blood type. So in case you forget, it's going to be on the app. And now with the COVID, it's going to tell you if you have the antibodies for the COVID disease.
Wow.
So it'll say, okay, you don't have the antibodies. You thought you had COVID, but obviously you didn't. Or you had COVID last July, your antibodies have dissipated. So it's a good little tool to have, but you can keep those statistics for you.
So it looks like a lot of advantage here, right? So one, you donate blood, you save life. Second, this become a way for you to keep track of some of the medical record, through this way. And of course, it helps hospital, it helps society, and eventually it helps give you the health benefit as well, occasionally donating the blood without really losing anything. And is it true that body recovers whatever we donate? The body's self kind of recovery system recover that blood fairly quickly, and probably that's the reason we don't really have any negative impact.
Your body's going to regenerate those cells very quickly, but we're not going to let you donate blood again for 8 weeks if you do the regular whole blood, because we want you to have ample time, because we want you to have more than enough blood, not just barely enough. We want you to have more than enough. But yes, a healthy human will start regenerating those cells quickly and be ready to go again in 8 weeks.
Yep, that's good to know. So, and basically our blood kind of recycles within the body itself. So maybe this gives opportunity to generate few brand new blood cells, and probably that's
why it's healthy. Yes.
Yep. Awesome. Now, do I need any fasting or anything before the donation? And
oh no, please don't fast. It's very important that you are well hydrated. You have extra water to drink. Actually, starting the day before or the night before is helpful. Be well hydrated, and if you'll eat something an hour or two before the blood drive, you'll feel better. The reason to put something in your stomach, even if it's just some crackers, is less chance of feeling nauseous. Because sometimes you have an empty stomach, you're hungry, you come to the drive, you can feel a little queasy. So it's really, we want something in your gut. I know for myself, if I eat a meal right before I donate, I'll pass the hematocrit, the finger prick, better than if I didn't eat that day. So no, please don't fast. It's about, there are religious groups that fast in the spring, and we can't run blood drives when they're doing fasting.
Understood. Now that's a good piece of information. Now I may quickly want to share my screen, and we have some questions on how to register. So if you can see, this is the red cross blood. And in this section here, maybe I will minimize this. So this section here, you can enter zip code to find the blood donation drive near you. Or if it's a sponsored drive, like we are doing as a JVB, you just enter JVB, click here. It will bring you the schedule available for that particular drive. And then you can go look for the different times available. You can select whichever you are interested in. And then you can just quickly go and register, create your account. So I just wanted to give that a quick glance to our members.
Right. Now, once they create an account, if they want to donate again the next time, the system's going to recognize them. So it's helpful if they will try to save their username and password somewhere.
It helped me actually when I was registering myself, and since I recently donated in January or late January, it was able to pull all my details. So I didn't really need to feed any of the detail. I just select the time and done. So that was pretty handy and very quick.
Good. And did you try the Rapid Pass when you donated in January?
I did. So that's also a good thing to have, and it gives all your records.
You don't have to use the app to do the Rapid Pass. All you're doing is the day of the drive after midnight before you donate is go to redcrossblood.org/Rapid Pass. And you'll say, are you donating today? And you'll say yes. It may ask you for your zip code. You'll plug that in. And then it's going to ask you to answer those questions. So you can answer them right in the comfort of your home on your on a computer and print it off, or you can do it on your smartphone. So when you come into the drive, they'll ask you, did you do Rapid Pass? And if you say yes, we just scan the barcode that it gave you. And when you get back to the medical history, they'll scan it And then you don't have to answer all those questions. They'll just do the medical history real quick, the finger prick, and send you right to the bed. So it could save you up to 10 minutes
Yeah,
on the blood drive.
that's a good idea. So if you are donating second time, you already have information in system. You just bring your rapid pass,
Even if
and
it's your first time, you can still do it. Yes.
even for the first time. Oh, okay, good to know. So that saves time as well. Well, I think this was an interesting session, very informative. I guess I covered pretty much all the questions we received. But do you want to give any general message to the community members uh, about blood donation? If
Well,
you
the
want to
only
say
thing
anything.
I would mention to your donors is if they have sons and daughters who are 16 or older, and are willing to come with them, I think it's a lovely thing to do as a family. I think the parent is setting a great example for their son or daughter. I've been very concerned that in the past year, none of our high schools have been running blood drives. Pretty much all the high schools in the state of New Jersey will run 1 or 2 blood drives a year. And having blood drives in the high schools is a great way to start creating donors for life. You know, doing this just one time in your life is not helpful. We need to build donors for life, and we need these young donors because now some of our donors in their 70s are no longer eligible. So we need some young people to start getting into habit of donating, and they're not getting this experience in high school because all the high school drives canceled. So, you know, if you have a son or daughter who's interested, bring them, try to bring them with you, show them a good example. And then maybe when their high school is able to have a drive next year, they'll want to do it again. Or if they're graduating from high school, maybe they'll want to do it in the community, college students. So it'd be a good family activity. It really is a good way to show your son or daughter this is the right thing to do.
Absolutely. I think this is one of the thing anyone can do, easily can do, and it develops the kind of a sense of social responsibility, sense of
Yes.
I would say it's sense of satisfaction as well when you are donating something that saves life directly. So it's there can't be anything a better way. Well, I think with this session, thank you so much, Leslie. It was
Thank
very
you.
informative, and thanks for having you here, taking your time and explaining all this in the detail. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We appreciate your support, and we'll have a great drive April 4th.
Me too. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.